attention. I don't think she'll notice me no more. She parties all the time, sipping those finest wines and such. I don't think she'll remember me no more. So I'll be waiting all day, all night. I'll be waiting for her all the time, through the pouring rain or the sunshine. I'll be waiting for her all the time. Ooh, na 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 na. When I'm with you all day, all night, I'll be waiting for her all the time. Since she moved on and she found him, I've been aching, my heart is rusted. So I'm on my own shit. Been the same dog barking up the same tree. I need her out of my life, I need her out of my head. Painting a picture that I'm better off dead. I hope he's treating her wrong, but hope she's been treated right. I love you and I hate her at the same time. I'll be waiting, I'll be waiting all day, all night. I'll be waiting for her all the time, through the pouring rain or the sunshine. I'll be waiting for her all the time. Ooh, na 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 na. When I'm with you all day, all night, I'll be waiting for her all the time. Things that got the best of me, none worse than when you said it's over. My heart's forever broken, and that's why I'll be never sober. Every little thing that I said, I play it all back in my head. And every little thing that went wrong, I'd give it all to go back again. Every little thing that I said, I play it all back in my head. And every little thing that went wrong, I'd give it all to go back again. Hey! All day, all night, I'll be waiting for her all the time, through the pouring rain or the sunshine. I'll be waiting for her all the time. Ooh, na 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 na. When I'm with you all day, all night, I'll be waiting for her all the time. Things that got the best of me, none worse than when you said it's over. My heart's forever broken, and that's why I'll be waiting for her all the time. If I need her.
What a time to be alive.
What is up?
Holy crap. What is going on right now, Dave? How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm going to be looking at this screen for basically all of the show, trying to find
You're going
clips.
to be pretty useless today.
Yes.
But
But-
it is a wild time. We got actually a good amount of stuff to talk about. We actually, it was fun. We jumped on here and started doing some prep, and we were kind of like trying to like pull things together, figure out what we want to talk about. And then this motherfucker, Joe Rogan, drops his interview with
right when
Donald
we're
Trump.
looking at shit.
2 hours and 58 minutes long, 3 hours of an interview.
Which we did not think when
we
we were
thought
talking about this before in the show.
We thought Trump was going to give him maybe 2 hours
Yeah.
at most. And because last he did Theo Vaughn for an hour and a half, right? So it
Mhm.
was like,
I think it's flagrant for an hour and a half. Theo was
Flagrant
like
for
an
an
hour.
so it's like he went nuts. So we'll find clips on that. Dave will be searching through clips basically
Yeah.
the
I have
whole
3
time
right
with
now.
that. I'll be giving updates right now because for those that are keeping score, it dropped 33 minutes ago. There's already 413,889 views. And I will continue to kind of give updates on how many views that has because that's fucking wild.
Do we
Already
want to guess over under?
over under by the time we're done or by the time how
No,
about
over under 24 hours.
over under 24 hours? Dave, you said like 20 mil, right?
I said 20 mil,
Oh.
but we can go 10 mil over under. Or do you want to do like 12 mil?
I'll say over 10.
Because I'm going to go over 10 as well.
What are you going to be under? So what's your high mark?
20. My
20 is
high
your
mark.
high?
Yeah.
I think my high would be 15.
Okay.
So let's do over under 15.
Yep.
You say over 15, I say
Yeah.
under 15.
We'll do that. Fuck it. Yeah.
So over for in a 24 hours. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about that. But hi, how's everyone doing out there? Crazy shit going on right now, everybody. We're here. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna make this a good time, as we always do. So like I always do, let me just start off and get through my preamble right here before we get into the fun stuff. Epstein client list, let's get on it. Let's get everyone out there to make sure that we get that exposed. Donald Trump said that he potentially would make that get unleashed if he is president. So it's even more urgent that we get him president. He's been doing and saying a lot of really good shit. We talked about the potential no income tax yesterday. So get out there, vote for Trump if you want to make sure that the Epstein client list comes out and we bring those assholes to justice. While we have all this craziness and things going on in the world right now, keep in mind the victims of Helene and Milton. Right now, we're caught up in the election. There's a lot of, craziness, early voting's going on everywhere. But keep in mind the people that maybe are going to have to kick and scratch to get to those polls in North Carolina, parts of Tennessee, Georgia, Florida that have been affected. And they need to figure out a way to drive 50 miles when they might not have a fucking car just to go vote. Help them out as much as you can. Okay. Even if you could send $1 and then convince everyone else around you, everyone that's voting for Trump to send $1, millions of dollars going their way towards relief. The group that I recommend for everyone is mercury1.org. I love the work that they do, but you can follow and send it to whoever you'd like. Let's keep going with that. Boom, boom, boom. $1 for Moms for Liberty. Everyone, again, donate $1 to Moms for Liberty. Similar concept as if you were donating just $1 for Helene and Milton. Everyone donates for them, and we can make sure we have a powerful apparatus representing us that don't want woke shit going into our schools, our state and local level. So go help them out. And then lastly, I talked about early voting. We're going to talk about it. But if you could still go do it, go work your election polls. Sign up to go do it. I know over here where I am in Dutchess County, they need people. So if you're watching from Dutchess County, New York, they need people to work those polls. Get in touch with your election commissioner. The Democrat or Republican one, it does not matter because they both work together in this sense. So call up, go help them out, and then go early vote. I'm not gonna lie, the early voting numbers look fucking fantastic right now. But that does not mean that we sit on our ass and rest on our laurels. That means that we get more people to go out. You convince more people to go. And if they are one of those people that's like, man, my vote doesn't count. We're solid blue, we're solid red, or whatever I do. Remind them that their vote counts down ballot. And not even in the Senate and the House races, but in your state and your local, your propositions. That's where their vote counts. So if they don't know what the prop is, especially in New York here, or in any of the other places that they have the propositions, look it up for yourself and educate them. Educate them on what it is that they are voting for and tell them that, yeah, maybe the federal doesn't matter in our area, but everything else matters. So get them out early, get them to vote because it's really important that we do this. Let's get rolling, Dave. Let's have some fun here. First things first, I want to start off that we are super fucking happy to announce that the Manchester Township Football Hawks are the East South Division champions after their 42-12 victory over Monmouth today. Couldn't be happier for Coach Farrell. Couldn't be happier for those boys, for that whole staff, for everyone that's worked their asses off, for all the booster club, all the teachers that are consistently supporting. I'll throw it out to the fucking cheerleaders, the marching band, everyone that's there and that's a part of it. This is massive. Manchester is not known as a football school. We've struggled for most of our history in football. So to do this year in Coach Farrell's third year with the team is huge. So we're excited. We hope Coach Farrell, you're getting the warm welcome that you deserve from the Manchester faithful. And this is going to be one of the most historical seasons in Manchester history. We're getting a home playoff game for the first time. Enjoy this for 24 hours and get the fuck back to work, right? Let's go win that home playoff game. And let's continue to make history. But we're pumped. See South Division champions, Manchester Township Football Hawks. We're so excited about that. But our main story today, Dave, holy shit. I did not think going into this, we are not going to talk about Israel declaring war on Iran, attacking Iran, because it seems like in the world right now, it's a bigger deal that Joe Rogan.
An afterthought.
Joe Rogan interviewed Donald Trump more than possibly World War III.
Yeah, they're fine over there.
So
that's normal. It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. It's normal there. So I want to start off with this, Dave, that I want to share my screen real quick because before you share some clips, because you're loading up some clips, you're getting some stuff going from the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk, Dave, about right down here. Let me scroll to make sure it's visible. If I scroll down,
Yeah, I can
right
see
here
502,000.
in 40 minutes, a 500,000 views in 40 minutes. That is fucking insane. You know, this might be the one guy. Joe Rogan has 17.6 million subscribers. Usually you get nowhere near your subscriber number when you're putting up a video. Like the number is 10%, right? Normally you get like, if you get 10% of your subscribers, you got a good video. That's typically what the YouTube number is. Anything over is a plus positive.
Yes.
He's going to get well over 17.
Trump is a huge draw, man. Like he is might be the biggest draw, to be completely honest with you. You see him like anywhere he goes, the numbers are huge.
He's an interesting guy.
That
is why he is an interesting guy. He is, I mean, and we'll see. We're going to let everyone know this just dropped. We were show prepping while it's dropped. We have not watched this yet. So the clips that we are going to be watching, maybe we watched one of them. The clips we are going to be watching with you guys as well for the first time, reacting to it for the first time. So Dave, I'm going to get this out of here. Periodically, I'm going to jump back to this so we could see where this is at. But do you have what do you have loaded up to share? You have anything fun loaded up to share?
Yeah, well, we'll start with this first one. I have 4 clips in total right now. I think they're all different. This is Joe Rogan calling out the media and government for not caring about assassination attempts.
When he did this Biden impression where he's walking around, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's funny. It's stand up. It's funny stuff. But it's like you were making fun of Elon one time. You were doing an Elon impression. It's great. You have like comedic instincts.
Which I believe we talked about this on the show.
We said
Rogan would bring up that Trump is actually pretty good as a comedian. He has the instincts. He has the timing down.
I think this may have been like 3 or 4 days ago. We were talking about what we might potentially hear from this podcast, and that's one of the things we definitely nailed on.
Yep.
Like when you said to Hillary,
it's surprising
you'd be in jail.
To be right
that's
sometimes.
Great timing.
Maybe once in a while.
But it's like that kind of stuff was unheard of as a politician. Like no one had done that. And I think
it's funny. You need at least the attitude of a comedian when
Can you stop that real quick? Business. Trump can't help himself but do the hands everywhere he is. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel like he does that in person. I feel like if you're talking to him just randomly, he'll probably just be like, I think you had a great day today. Like he probably goes to Barron, like, Barron, how was school? Like,
I said this when we first were watching this clip before the show, but this doesn't feel real. It's weird.
It looks like AI.
it's weird.
People do that too. Like they'll clip the AI for Joe Rogan interviews.
It's like the one with Ben Shapiro. They talk about the lake that makes you old or whatever. It's called. One of my favorite videos. I'm sorry,
dude. That's a great AI. Go ahead.
This is a very dangerous business. First of all, it's a very tough business. When
it's the most dangerous business.
The most, well, for a job.
Yes, I mean, other than going to war and being a firefighter or being a cop.
Yeah.
It's the most dangerous business.
It's the most dangerous.
And I want to stop it real quick right there.
That's such a dumb sentence. I love it.
I want to stop it right there because, like, for Trump, it may be as if not more dangerous than those first responders because they keep on trying to fucking kill the guy.
Yeah,
like maybe a soldier has the most dangerous because obviously your active war zone, they are attempting to kill you actively. But police officers aren't getting shot at every day in most areas. Most, if you're in the inner city or in Chicago, maybe, but most areas no. And firefighters, you're responding to fires, but it's not all the time. So it's like, but Trump, they are, he was granted, this wasn't as big notable, but he was granted air support for Trump Force One by the Biden administration because of the credible threats against him from Iran.
Yeah.
So that is fucking wild that a non-president, just a leading candidate, was granted basically a presidential escort while in the air, which, Biden obviously has a presidential escort. There's F-15s and stuff flying with him all the time. I think Trump has one with him now at all times with Trump Force One, which is fucking crazy.
And like we said, we haven't watched this. I want Joe Rogan to ask Trump about aliens.
All right, go for it.
Being president is the most dangerous.
Especially you. I mean, you haven't even got to the election. There's been 2 assassination attempts. and they've brushed those out of the news like it was nothing.
Yeah, they'd rather not talk about them.
Imagine if there was assassination attempts on Biden, how hard people would be attacking the right, how they would be trying to get guns taken away from people. They would try to ramp up gun laws. They would try to figure out some way to blame you. If there was attacks on, if Biden got shot in the ear, we would have.
They're blaming Trump for his own assassination attempt.
No, he staged them. They didn't blame him. They said he fucking staged them.
Well, it's either he staged them or it's his own rhetoric that's making him get shot at.
It's his fault we're calling him Hitler.
It's your fault. You're the one that's making me shoot you.
Never heard the end of it.
But I think he's in good shape because it's only consequential presidents.
That's the end of the clip.
Yeah, an amazing end to the clip.
It's only consequential. Biden's a fucking idiot.
But Trump right now is the epitome of he's just standing there menacingly. Like, that is how Democrats view him at this point.
Yeah.
Do you want me to continue on?
Yeah,
to the
let's
next clips?
keep rolling. Clip City.
All
let's
right.
go Clip City. Let's do this. I feel like anyone that's watching right now is watching because they want to see Joe Rogan coverage. So
this is the next one. They talk about his bullet scar. And I saw some other clips that brought up the bullet scar. So I think this one's going to encompass all of those. If it doesn't, I'll try to keep looking for others.
I was
he was a nice
once
guy.
They shot you, I was like, he's got to come in here. It's all about timing. It's all about the timing.
Timing's
I think
good.
Timing's perfect. Do you even have a scar on your ear? You got anything on there?
I do.
What do we say? What do you got
So right over here.
there? Oh, it's a tiny little
See,
mark.
it zicked right there.
Yeah. It healed up pretty fucking good.
Well, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's little. It's not like some of the wrestlers,
What
some
up,
of
Debbie?
the UFC fighters.
No, you didn't
It's
get
a little bit.
cauliflower
No. It was sort of like a top shot.
Mm-hmm.
The point of the bullet was a little of the ass, but you see,
That's like him just pointing it out. It is insane. It really makes you think about how that chart, his favorite chart in the world now, really changed everything in America that day.
And what's crazy how nonchalantly he can talk about it. It's like, you know, it's just right there, just there. Like it's such like a nonchalant. Now, obviously, you know, he's probably prepared for this question and things like that. And
You would think everyone asks him about that at this point.
Everyone. And, you know, he's probably prepared at this point. But just like I was still PTSD. Like I was centimeters away from having my head fucking blown off. I was the next JFK video of my head like fucking flailing out.
Yeah.
Like, and he could just right there. All right, go on, let's finish this up.
the things take it off a little bit, but it makes me a tougher guy. You know, the fighters.
I was
Okay, that's an amazing way to end that.
It makes me a tougher guy.
From Malcolm Flex here, Trump reveals how close he was to going third party after leaving the Democrats. This is interesting.
That's fucking awesome. Let's hear this.
The standpoint of a donor. I was a donor. You know, I was a big donor. I gave money to politicians. I enjoyed politics.
mostly Democrats, right?
Both, really, pretty much both. I have actually pictures of Ronald Reagan and me when I was very young.
You were a Democrat until like what year?
I was a Democrat.
Well, pause it real quick.
I could get you.
You know, he brings up Reagan, but Reagan was a Democrat. So it's like,
Republican.
Democrat turned Republican. So while he says, like, you know, I have my pictures of Reagan and vote, and you know, but still, it's like that was another person that had Democratic sympathies up until it's noted. And you read Killing Reagan, I read Killing Reagan. When he was calling out, and a lot of people don't note this about Reagan, that as an actor, he would go to the Screen Actors Guild and they would be railing
Film
on
Actors
communism.
Guild, say it right.
Bag. But they would be like railing about how communism's the way. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And Reagan has said like that was one of his big turns to going towards being a Republican, because like I cannot be associated with that because he's like, you know, I'm a lot of things. I'm not a fucking communist. So let's go ahead. Some more.
The exact, but the early 90s. The early 90s, I switched over eventually. Actually, they had a reform party. I was thinking about doing that for a little while, but then fortunately I didn't, because it's very hard. You know, it's a two-party system. And anytime you hear third party, I know you like our...
The Reform Party was when he was going to run in the 90s. He was going
I
to
thought
run as a
his
Reform
name
Party
was like a part of that.
It was a part of that, and he was going to be on the ballot. And that was around the same time that I think when Oprah interviewed him and said that she would run as his VP if he was going to run Reform Party. Because at that time, he was good friends with all of these fucking New York liberals and people like that.
Yeah.
And the Reform Party...
He still would be.
And
if
he still
they didn't
is.
defeat him. Yeah.
He still is. That's the worst part.
He was very nice to Chuck Schumer.
It is such a dirty business, and they all get it in that situation where when you watch these mob movies, about these like mafia bosses that will
Well-
try to murder each other one day, but then go to a fucking La Cosa Nostra meeting the next and shake hands and break bread. It's the same thing, I guess, when you're a billionaire and you're a rich and powerful politician.
It's like when we
It's
talked
bi- it's
to
like it's just
Pastor
business.
Scott.
It's
like when we
just
talked to-
business.
yeah, but it's like when we talked to Pastor Scott. I can't remember who was
With Jesse Jackson.
Was it Jesse Jackson?
Jesse
I
Jackson.
couldn't remember if it was Sharpton or Jesse Jackson.
It was
I couldn't
Jesse
remember.
Jackson going
Yeah.
on and fucking railing about him.
Exactly. And Trump saying, well, it's whatever. He's still
And
my
Jesse
friend.
calling him and being like, man,
Yeah.
it's just.
Yeah.
And I think they look at it, and I think even in a sense, the assassinations, like Donald Trump looks at it as like it's just business. Like, this isn't personal. This isn't personal.
Mhm.
It's just business. They're doing what
Yeah.
they need to do to try and win, and I'm going to do what
Mhm.
I need to do. But I really think that you get to a certain point where nothing personal, just business. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You see those in the movies all the time. It's nothing personal. Like, and I think this is a real life. We're looking at a real life version of it.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. and so do I. He's a fantastic guy.
I do, but I thought
that
that
whole
being
thing
an
is very
independent
tough.
was nonsense.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work because even if you do great, you're not going to get Congress. In other words,
Right.
you need now to say, okay, now I'll get half of Congress that's never going to vote for you. So even if you got there, which is very hard, and I know how you feel about Bobby, and I feel the same way, and he's now with us. But it doesn't. It's real. It's pure and simple. It's a two-party system.
Him and
Stand-
Bobby. Oh, that's it anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Him and Bobby Kennedy have been friends for like 20 plus years. There's a funny story. I don't know if we told it on this show, but I don't know if Pastor Scott told us it, but I heard it. Maybe I heard it on another show. I might be mixing them up, where Bobby Kennedy was suing Donald Trump. And while he was suing, him and his wife were trying to find a flight somewhere, and everything was booked up. And she goes to Bobby, "Oh, I got a private jet." And he was like, "Oh, who did you get it from?" She's like, "Oh, Donald's letting us use it." While he was suing Donald Trump for an environmental case, Donald Trump was nice enough in the act, and she's like, and they're like, "Oh, is this okay, honey? You're suing him." And he's like, "Yeah, it's fine." And he took the flight with the Kennedys
Yeah.
to take them wherever he is,
It's-
while Robert Kennedy was suing him.
It's like you said, it's just business. These are just things that you do. And at the end of the day, it's whatever. It's honestly, it's a weird way to look at the world nowadays, but it seems like that's the way he just goes about
But
things.
it also goes to talk about who Trump is.
Yeah.
People can rip on him all he wants, and I think this interview is going to be great to show his character and who he is, because a lot of people judge someone's character off of how they do on Joe Rogan right now. It's such a barometer for how they feel, because I feel like people think that Joe Rogan.
I really judge his character after getting shot and standing up.
Agreed,
I know a lot of people are with me on that aspect, but I
yeah.
feel like that was really where you saw his genuine character and where his heart was.
Agreed, but I also think a lot of people use Joe Rogan as a barometer, because I think they believe Joe Rogan pulls a lot out of people in his interviews, and he does.
Well,
he pulls a ton out of
the
it.
thing is that you really can't bullshit like a straight-faced caveman that's just asking you just the most simple of questions.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going here.
Hmm.
What's this one? So we all know what the fuck this one is. Introduced.
No, I know this. This one is him talking about how Kamala Harris is a very low IQ person.
And this is 2 minutes. And 12 seconds. I love it.
Yes, I love it. This is the longest one.
And
Rhetoric
there's
is also
words.
that you're Hitler, and that in
that's
order to
another-
stop Hitler, you have to do whatever it takes.
That was okay, yeah.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, you're hearing this now. Kamala compared you to, said your love of Hitler yesterday.
Kamala's a very low IQ person. She's a very low IQ. I'm for taking tests too. I think anybody that runs for president they should give them tests. And it's not an age thing. It's not based. If you look back on history, 70s and 80s, some of your greatest leaders in the world history, long-time world history, they were in the.
I wonder, no one talks about this, how much interaction they had while Kamala was a senator, because she was a senator while Donald Trump was president. She was outspoken, very against, anything he was doing. And, she had some.
Didn't they say they never met?
Some what? What's up?
Didn't they say they never met?
Okay. I don't know if they said
that. The debate was the first time they were actually meeting face to face.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So they never met each other. Because I don't know. Because
I wouldn't really want to meet her either.
I wouldn't want to meet her either, unless he wanted something from her and she was willing to give it, because she's.
I was gonna say it was her wanting something from him, but
yeah, go for it.
Their 70s and their 80s. But I think you should take cognitive tests. I think they say it's unconstitutional. But
That's ridiculous.
I think Kamala should have a test, because there's something missing. There's something wrong with her.
Well, I think it's pressure. I think the pressure and the scrutiny, you've been a
Something
celebrity for a
missing.
long time and you understand what this is like. But for someone who's in her late
Have you
40s,
not
who
watched
becomes the vice president, who runs for president, becomes the vice president, and then all of a sudden the weight of the world is on your shoulders and there's all these people paying attention. A lot of people clam up.
But you either have it or you don't.
Correct.
Look, this is an interview. We've covered a lot of territory, right? And you know, it's fine. I don't care. I want to. I think it's much more interesting. To do an interview.
And real quick, because he brought up, you know, they covered a lot of territory, which they probably did. It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
I believe it's a tweet from Frank McCormick I saw earlier about this being a 3 hour interview. And he said he remembers when Obama said he was going to be really transparent during his presidency, during his terms. And he basically said Trump is showing that by going and doing shit like this.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and because most of the time when he's on these, he'll say some similar things, but he's saying a lot of different things on all of these interviews. So
he's not coming in, and this has never been Trump style. He doesn't give you the same exact couch speech that he always gives. He just, you know, keeps going, and holy shit. Is he at a fucking rally right now?
Yes, he's at a rally right now.
He's in a rally.
He's at a rally
Northern
right
Michigan.
now. I don't understand where he gets his energy.
Hours. Listen.
See, if you had told me that Donald Trump does cocaine, I would believe you because of the energy he has.
He definitely does. I think he does.
No, there's no way
he gets something injected into his fucking veins. That might not be coke, but it might be some sort of speed or something
energy
keeping him going.
Insane.
Honestly, someone might not assassinate him. This dude's heart might fucking explode. Like, because it has to be massive the way it pumps.
I hope not, man.
Like,
you
honestly,
can't have this type of energy. I don't want to lose that.
So, holy shit.
Yeah,
he's over there. A 78-year-old just got done doing 3 hours with Rogan.
Yep.
Flies to fucking Michigan because Rogan's in Texas.
Yep.
Flies to Michigan to do a speech. Like, what the fuck? And I have a little bit from that rally over here. He gives a shout out to Joe Rogan. So when you're done with this, we'll kind of watch what he says.
You know it's good when it goes 3 hours. Yes. You know they talked about a lot of stuff when it goes 3 hours. And they got, or at least they got in depth on a bunch of things as well.
And Adderall, maybe. It could be Adderall. But here's the thing. It's been noted, and it's been very much that Donald Trump doesn't like drugs, doesn't like drinking,
he hates them
because of his brother and the overdose.
That is where Trump would have his most authoritarian streak, is on drugs. That is where it would be.
But he also didn't do it in his first 4 years.
No, he didn't. I'm saying if there were to be an authoritarian streak from him, it would be about drugs.
He also did call the war on drugs an abject failure because he saw it not being done correctly.
Yeah.
So, and I think he also knows that the power of the federal to do a war on drugs is fucking stupid. It would have to be something where it's state supported, state run, federal supported.
Yeah.
Like the Fed will support the states and how they decide to handle their drug thing, similar to the way he handled COVID.
Yeah.
You know, we will support you in ways that we can, but we will not be the ones spearheading whatever you are doing about the drug issues in your state.
I mean, like, and you hear his backstory on that. That was on Theo Vaughn when he talked about why he doesn't like drugs. But you hear his backstory about his brother and his alcoholism and everything. And I think his brother said to him to stay away from things. And Donald, he took that to heart, man. And you could see why. If you see someone that you love, you look up to, fail in doing things because of something like that, it'll affect you for the rest of your life. And it seems like that's been what's happened to Donald.
And, you know, by looks only, it does not look like any of his kids abuse any of those things because, you know, you can tell some people have the gaunt face and when they're younger and things like you could see when people are abusing things. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know about Eric or Ivanka, but I'm pretty sure Don Jr. has said on shows like he doesn't mind a stiff whiskey every once in a while. He'll sit by the fire with his fucking family and it's cold and have a whiskey on the rocks. Like, he seems like that type of guy that will have a stiff drink every once in a while. But they don't seem like the type of people that abuse it because there's a certain look. You look like Hunter Biden. Okay. Sorry to fucking say it. You look like Hunter Biden. You kind of look like you scratch your neck for no reason every once in a while. And his kids don't look that way. Maybe they just fucking pull themselves together real well because there are those functioning alcoholics that just pull together really well.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's typically when you abuse drugs is when you start looking like the drug that you're abusing.
Yes.
It's when you just use drugs, you can usually be able to get yourself together. Now, when you go from use to abuse it can be a cliff, but that's usually when you start seeing the effects physically
and we're seeing the effects of something on Kamala too, because Kamala looks terrible. I think it might be stress.
I think that's stress. I think that's similar to what Rogan said.
I think it's stress. I think there is the rumor, Keith Malinak on Pat Gray said he has an insider saying that they upped her anxiety medication because she's having, and that would definitely have an effect because
it
you're
would
upping
not be
medication.
surprising.
And when you up medication, it takes about a 14-day grace period to find out what those things are going to do to you.
Yeah.
So this has been a recent thing. So I feel like all the stuff, like where Trump looks like Trump, and he looks better than he did. Because remember when he first came back on the scene, he looked a little overweight. He did look a little bit tired. Now he looks like fucking 10 years ago when he was on Fox News just fucking ranting.
He probably just cut down a small amount into McDonald's. Like instead of large fries, he went for medium fries. Because it's not like he cut out McDonald's. He definitely still has it. But he might have just cut down on the size of
I want to know how much of a stake Donald has in McDonald's just because he has to buy stock. He eats it so much, he might as well.
I think he just likes it. You're on the move. Fast food is supposed to be for people on the move.
Not even that. He's terrified of being fucking poisoned. So since he's terrified of being poisoned, he knows he can watch that be made in front of him, and that's why. All right, let's keep going.
With Anderson Cooper, a crazy softball interview. She took 2 days off and she studied all day long, and then she comes out with a result that was a real embarrassment. That was a really bad interview. She couldn't answer a question, and every question's not answered.
And quickly, real quick,
like what would you do?
We had nothing from the Kamala interview right now. Like maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the fucking town hall.
We can talk a little bit about Kamala tomorrow. Maybe we'll dedicate a little more towards like some of the shit because her town hall and her Anderson Cooper interview were two of the worst interviews you'll see politicians make.
And well, a part of me, it's just like you get a newspaper on one day, Kamala embarrassed herself. The next day, Kamala embarrassed. It's just a byline.
But I do think it's important to show it.
No,
I think like, it's important to show it,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll pull up some clips for tomorrow for both
I'm
the
just saying,
town hall
you
and the
lose-
Anderson Cooper because
it
some of the
slips from your
stuff, Dave,
mind. Yeah.
Anderson Cooper. I was listening to fucking Glenn and Stu today. Maybe it was I don't know, one of the fucking shows I listened to.
One of Blaze shows, yeah.
One of the Blaze shows. I love the Blaze here. But they played a clip and Anderson Cooper tried his fucking hardest. He asked her at least 3 or 4 times if she supports a border wall now, if she would build one now. And she never
Did she say something like, I would follow the law or some
No.
nonsense
First she started
like that?
off with, let's talk about Donald Trump. He said he was going to do it. Mexico didn't pay for that wall. And that was like one. And then another one. And he flat out asked her, like, all right, finally, would you support a border wall? And she's like, I would do what is necessary. And you could see Anderson's like, all right, let's move on. And Anderson Cooper didn't do anything crazy. He helped pressed her pretty well on a few things, but she wouldn't answer anything. All right, let's keep going. He's going to make fun of her now.
Do your first day in office? Okay, I'll build a wall. I won't build a wall. There's 100 things you can say. Just say anything, right? There's something off with her.
Well, I also
we're dealing with the smartest people. They hate when I say, when I call President Xi, they said, he called President Xi brilliant. Well, he's a brilliant guy. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. I mean, he's a brilliant guy, whether you like it or not. And they go crazy.
Right.
Say,
it doesn't mean he's not evil, or it doesn't mean he's not
of course not.
dangerous.
But actually, we have evil people in our country.
Yes.
Oh, that was going somewhere good.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's all the clips I have for now. I know you had something from the rally,
so
right?
I don't know what the fuck this is, but just the fact, I just want to show, apparently he's talking about Joe and giving him a shout out. But the fact that I'm actually, my mind's blown because I've known he's done a ton of stuff and he does this. My mind is blown. So this is from George Bazy tweets over here. Michigan crowd just roared and cheers after Trump gave a big shout out to Joe Rogan. By the way, how is this guy 78? He gave a big speech in Austin about the border, then went in Rogan's studio, filmed the 3-hour interview, and now he's in northern Michigan doing a rally with tens of thousands in attendance. When does this guy sleep? So let's see what Trump had to say here.
I got interviewed by actually a great guy. I didn't know him too well, but I got to know him because it was the longest interview I've ever done in my life.
Wild.
Joe Rogan, a good guy.
Look at Brick suit just fucking hanging out.
It's it's quite something.
He's always
We had
around.
some other things really important. And I said, we're going to get this stuff done. And my people came to me, sir, we could cancel our evening event. I'm sure the people wouldn't mind. I said, are you crazy? I'm not canceling. There's no way.
Are you crazy?
I'm not canceling. There's no way. We never even... So I apologize, but you know, it's all about winning. We got to win, and we did some things today that will help us win. I think we did a lot of taping, a lot of this, a lot of that, a lot of everything.
It is crazy the energy he has. Funny enough, in the Rogan interview, he apparently said, "You're not a Kamala person, Joe. You're a Khabib person," which is hilarious.
That's incredible. So also,
Right.
did you see that there's a chick wearing a fucking MAGA hat at the World Series in like this front row?
No, that's incredible.
Someone was saying
Love
there was some outrage from a leftist going, "Oh, how did the Dodgers allow such a hateful sign in their
really.
stadium?" It's like, fuck you, you loser.
So this is a clip about Trump explaining how polls work on Rogan.
Let's do it.
If I did, I wouldn't answer. I'm busy.
You know how polls are done? I'm going to get myself in
Please.
trouble, but so I really don't believe too much in it.
That's true. What an arc.
So-
Opie and
Well,
Anthony
2016
And
taught
he
a
had
lot of
hair.
people about the ineffective.
Well, they were very
use of polls.
ineffective because
Yeah.
I thought I was doing well. I'd go to a place and I'd have 30, 40,000 people. Hillary would go, they have 500 people, and they tell me I'm going to lose. I said, why am I going to lose? I had 40,000 people. She had 200 people. But, you know, I have a
getting
theory.
smaller.
These pollsters, they charge you a lot of money, too. You know, they charge you $500,000 to do some stupid poll, and they interview like 251 people. I don't think they interview them in many cases. I don't want to get myself in too much
You
trouble.
think it's
'cause-
bullshit?
No, I think they sit there, they make a deal, they get $500,000, and they say, Trump's leading 51-49. They announce it, and everybody says, "Oh." Do you understand? I
Yeah.
really don't.
So you think
I don't
it's-
think they. I think in a lot. Look, I'm a very common sense person. I think that they probably don't always poll. Some of them probably never poll. What's the difference between 49-51 and 47.5?
Well, it's also a tiny percentage of the population. I don't think it's representative of the overall population. I just don't think
I don't
it
know
is.
of one person in my whole life that ever got called by a pollster.
Exactly. That's my point. So
So I'll say this. What happens is, because I've been called, I've done political polling. I've been called by them.
You
It's those
fucking,
that-
you fucking fed.
It's those that answer. So
Yeah.
like the thing is, like, I got called once and I answered because I was like, fuck it. They're calling me for a political poll. I like politics. Let's do it. I want to be a part of it. I want to get this poll on my side.
Mhm.
Now they don't fucking leave you alone. When you answer once, they call the same people. And that's the thing. Most of the people answering these polls are the same people, because if you answer once, they assume that you're going to want to answer, and they spread it out with all their friends. Like, I've been called by fucking Quinnipiac, Marist, New York Times, like all the major polls, Fox News. I'm pretty sure in 2020, I got a Trump internal poll calling me. Like, once you answer once, so if you ever want to be involved in any of this shit, if you see, like, don't not answer all the unknown numbers, because that was the way I got it. Because I was normally, if I see an unknown number, I answer because I like to fuck with them. If it's a telemarketer, like, I sit there and I'll like be like, hi, and say, like, see if they stay on, like, just be fucking retarded. But like, like with this one, like, I actually answered and I was like, I'll do something too. I'll be like, hello, like, and then they're like, oh, hi, I'm calling to see, this is blah 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 from a poll. I think it was like the Harris poll that I participated in the first time,
Mhm.
and it was about, I think it was 2020. It was about the election, and I was like, oh, cool. And my wife Julie's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, she's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, taking a political poll. She's like, you're ridiculous. And I was like, walking to the bedroom, and I did. It took like 5-10 minutes. But like, and then they never stop calling, and at times they'll be calling in dinner, and I'll,
Now they know. Now they know you answered, so
But
you're
thing is,
reliable.
if they know, and like it comes up now, it'll come like Ipsos poll, Marist poll, like
Yeah.
Sienna poll, and like my phone knows too. My phone's just like, you're the asshole that participates.
Mhm.
So I'll like answer. I'll be like, hey, I'm in the middle of dinner. Call me in 10. but yeah, Maris should spend more time on polling football recruits. Maris should spend time. I mean, it's a new coach over at Maris. I didn't expect him to do well. He needs to recruit. But also, Nate, the problem with Maris is they're in a non-scholarship league. So they give something called the Red Fox Scholarship, where it's like, hey, you're an athlete, we're going to give you academic money. But maybe I just gave away inside baseball. Anyway, but yeah, they need to get into a friggin' scholarship league, because it's ridiculous that they're not in a scholarship league as a Division I program. It's also ridiculous that there are non-scholarship leagues that exist in Division I. I digress. But yeah, so that's, I'm that one that has participated in polls. But anyway, so that's wild that Trump is over there. But let's go real quick while David's scouring. I wanted to pull this up, and I thought this was interesting because, like I said, I'm a guy that watches the Blaze and shit like that, blah blah blah. And one of the things that the Blaze is doing right now, specifically Stu Burgier, who is an absolute nerd for polling in this type of shit, they started something over there called the Pulsecast. Now, they've had the Pulsecast going. I'm going to scroll down. I might give you guys a little bit of craziness here. Blah, blah, blah. They've had the Pulsecast going since September 21st, and they've been tracking daily.
Wait.
September 21st.
You said September.
September.
You had tough with that. You had tough time with
September
the
21st. Listen, my dear, come huge sometimes.
Whoa. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Whoa. What do you have?
No, keep going.
Okay.
Say what you need to say.
So quickly, they started off in September 21st. And what this is basically they take an aggregate of all the fucking polls that are decently reputable. Like they're like, if it's a nothing poll, but like polls that other places won't include, like Trafalgar and shit like that, they bring in reputable polls plus all the aggregate ones. And Stu kind of like smorgasbord the fuck out of it all. And one of the things that he talked about is sometimes pollsters will take these other polls when they aggregate, but they'll add their own like secret sauce to like weigh things. Stu said he didn't do any of that shit. He took what he had, put it all together, and they average out what it is. So right now, when this started back over in September 21st, 2024, they had Trump at 44.24% chance to win, Harris at 55.76. Okay. So it's not like they're pulling just to make Trump look good. All right. And if we scroll through here, we could see Harris at 56, 43, 56, almost 7, 43 low, blah, blah, blah. And if you keep on going up, you can see how the change occurs. You know, it's at 57 for Kamala there, 56, almost 58%. Like Trump was in pretty bad shape for a long time here. And now as we get closer.
Well, there was the time of vibes. There was a time of brat summer. There was a time of joy. So Kamala had a honeymoon period that the media very much drove as much as they possibly could.
And I just want to give people, as I scroll here, an idea of what this Pulsecast is. Like, this isn't a rah-rah Trump Pulsecast, okay? This is a realistic look of how things are going. So right here, we're looking, and it started to tighten up a few polls ago. It's at 54, 49, 45 high. And then we're looking, boom, here, 53.26, 46.74. Trump is coming in. Trump is now coming up, 47 to 52, 48 to 51 on October 14th. 47 to 52, like it's steadily 48 to 51. You're steadily going 48 to 51 solid again. And it's kind of showing the progression. Trump is almost even on the 18th, which is our mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Ma. And then here, October 21st, because they take off for the weekend, you finally have Trump to pull ahead. 42.21% to 47.79. Now, fast forward, coming up to where we are today, we have 52.47 Trump, 53.46 Trump, and then they have yesterday's was the most recent one. They don't have today. They didn't do anything for today. They'll probably come back with a Monday one. But as of Thursday, October 24th, Trump is likely to win 52.67 to 47.33. Now, Stu always likes to point out, this is well within the margin of error, okay? With all of this stuff, this should still be extremely tight. But this is more of a trends trajectory that we are seeing in terms of the aggregate. So I, cautiously looking at everything, I don't weigh this more than I weigh any other poll, any other poly market, anything like that, even though the poly market is fucking massive for Trump right now. But I don't weigh this more than anything, but it's just another piece of the pie. Dave, what do you take of what Stu has done with the Pulsecast? And in your view, does this give a pretty good look, a better look, a worse look as to what we're looking at based on all the information you've seen?
I think it's just useful to watch trends because it's hard to trust any poll, especially since 2016, and how effective they are. Not even biases of polls. And the fact of the matter, like, are they able to actually get to people that want to respond in an honest manner to be able to make the polls actually viable? But if you're measuring the trends of the country, if you're measuring, funny enough, you're measuring kind of like vibes, you can really tell where things are going. So I enjoy that it's basically just showing kind of just where things are trending.
I think where I find this as a positive is you wouldn't imagine Trump having a positive number in 2020 or 2016 in any of this type of shit outside of maybe Rasmussen and some Trafalgar. stuff. You were looking at every single other one having them underwater 8, 10, 6, and then it would tighten up as it got closer. Maybe you get like a 4-point, 5-point lead for whoever the Democrat was, but it would never tighten up to a point where you wouldn't have to go into the margin of error to see Trump having a path, right? This is legitimate. Trump has taken, in a general election, fairly commanding leads for a Republican, 2, 3, 4% in some areas. And when you go the way that they poll Trump, the number was always like 8%. They've noticed the last two cycles. It's an 8% plus. I don't know if it's that extreme this time. I think they have tried to correct for some things. I think you're still looking at an underrepresentation of Trump voters, and you're still probably looking at a more positive view in all the polls for Trump, because I think most people are still like, I'm not going to talk about whether or not I'm voting for Trump, because as much as more people are coming out, it's still taboo. You still might get a psycho fucking ripping you and go for something that you don't want in your face. So I just want to share that. We'll keep an eye on the Pulsecast. We'll kind of bring it up. I'll keep an eye on it, and we can, maybe not do a big segment like we did there, but talk about what the Pulsecast is looking like real quick, just so we can get an idea.
I did want to bring up real quick, on November 2nd, Trump is holding a rally in Salem, Virginia. So he is making a play in Virginia, a big play in Virginia there.
Because Virginia's getting close.
Yes. So that's fucking huge. And
I think that's his final rally as well.
I
think the second's his final rally.
Yeah. And I have this right here, him talking about income tax.
See, oh yes.
Did you just float out the idea of getting rid of income taxes and replacing it with tariffs?
Well, okay.
Were we serious about that?
Yeah, sure. But why not? Because ready?
Yeah, sure.
Our country was the richest relatively in the 1880s and 1890s. A president who was assassinated named McKinley. He was the tariff king. He spoke beautifully of tariffs. His language was really beautiful. We will not allow the enemy to come in and take our jobs and take our factories and take our workers and take our families.
I want to pause it real quick.
Unless they pay a big price.
I think we always made fun of Biden for the whisper, right?
Gotta seal the witch vote.
Fucking Nate. I think we made fun of Biden for the whispering thing. I think he's just trying to take some of what Trump does. Trump has that natural whisper about his voice.
I think Biden's all over the place, man.
But I think whoever was coaching him was trying to sit there. And when Trump is trying to sound a little more thoughtful, and I think it's just a natural flow of his voice, he does get into a little more of a lullish, smooth whisper type of talk. And I think somebody maybe told Biden, like, when you're trying to be serious, lower your voice a little and give it. And Biden took it as, let me tell you a secret in your
I don't know. I think Biden's just a weird cat, especially at the old age. I think that's what it is.
You might be right. I was trying to give him something, okay?
No, I'm not going to give him anything. And also, real quick, talking about the witch vote, I don't know if you saw the post going around about witches that were trying to put a curse on Trump, but he's got some protective aura around him, so they can't actually get through and put a curse on him. I might have to find that, because that shit's hilarious.
Something, though? That's a good sign when even the fucking psycho bitch Wiccans don't believe that they have any power over him.
They're like, we can't do.
Those are the people that are like, oh, we can see, and we're a part of the collective force, and no force is greater than ours. And now they're going, oh no, his force is greater.
Something's protecting him.
He believes in that thing called God. Oh no!
Price, and the big price is tariffs. And he'd speak like that, but he was right. And then around in the early 1900s, they switched over stupidly to, frankly, an income tax. And you know why? Because countries were putting a lot of pressure on America. We don't want to pay tariffs. Please don't. They, believe me, they control our politicians.
Interesting.
I mean, and that's interesting too. And that's, to hear him kind of give a little bit of a history of that. And it's going to be funny because you're going to now have these leftist historian eagles going, well, actually, McKinley didn't do it for this reason. And they're going to fucking try and play him that he didn't do it. Not realizing that he's in a 3-hour long interview, kind of giving a general overview to those that don't know about that part of history. But you're going to get those that, be ready for that awesome New York Times fact check article. McKinley actually did it for this reason. Like, that's coming. I want to jump in real quick, Dave. I don't know if you have anything else, but talking about early voting real quick.
Okay.
Because I have these two things. Now, again, couching that these are not indicative of a Trump victory or a landslide, but it is something that we need to watch because, like we said, trends are important when it comes to elections. So this comes from Stephen C. Phillips. He's a political scientist. You see right here on Clemson University, political scientist. Right here, he has. This is a crazy thing I didn't think I'd be saying here. Now it is Florida, and we've seen Florida. I think Governor DeSantis has been doing a great job at kind of sealing Florida up for Republicans as long as he's there. But an update today. Total in-person early votes cast on campus early voting locations in Florida, colleges and universities. There's been almost 45,000 of them. Of those groups, now a lot of these places, it's college kids voting. Yes, there's other people with college kids. It's up almost 10,000 year to date from when the last votes. 9 days of voting left. I don't know what IRSC leads or 54. I don't know what that means. Democrats have 36.48% representation. Republicans lead on college campuses in Florida, 37.95. And then there's independents, 25.56. Now, for me, this is a big deal. I don't know about you, Dave. Here's why it's a big deal. Because yes, it's Florida, but the bigger deal is they're college fucking campuses. College campuses, I don't care where they are, typically go heavy left, like overwhelmingly city style left. And this is a big block that the leftists always count on to get the idiot college kid vote. Because, I always say college kids aren't real people yet. They have no responsibilities. But to get that college kid vote and get a massive support, and you're usually looking at like an 80-20 split with a lot of these universities. For it to be that close. Now, again, 9 more days of early voting left. They could have went to the well. Republicans could be done, and we could see that really change in 9 days, right? But the early voting indicative here is pretty fucking crazy that we keep on seeing a really good showing in early voting. And I can't stress again, continue to bring people out, continue to tell them the importance of getting out there and getting your vote cast early, getting it done, and making sure that they get there. And if they have plans on going on election day, to make sure those plans are sealed. Because you have some people who are just going to go on election day. Try to talk them out of it. Honestly, try to let them know that shit can go wrong, weather, a flat tire, so many things can go wrong. Make a plan to early vote and get it done. But this is huge. And now I want to also show this one from Simon Ateba. Simon, I know I gave you shit the other day, but I want to show you some love when you're doing some good work. This is some good work right here. He writes, America decides. Republicans and Democrats voting early. In the 2020 U.S. presidential election, around 159 million people voted, marking the highest voter turnout in U.S. history, with about 66.8% of eligible voters participating. Now, I want to talk about that real quick, Dave. I hear people like only 66.8% of eligible voted. That's a fucking massive number.
That's actually a lot, I think, comparatively to what we usually get.
Comparatively what we usually get. And just
I might be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure we get a lot less than that.
But just comparatively in general, like that is a huge number of people being engaged in the political process. Like that's massive. Okay. This year, with 11 days ago, more than 35 million people have already cast their ballots. That number is expected to reach 75 million before election day. So almost half the number of people that voted in all of the last general election are expected to be by election day on November 5th. As most early voting typically occurs in the final week. Note, unlike 2020, when many Republicans waited until election day to vote, the current early voting numbers show 42% of Democrats and 40% of Republicans have already voted. Independents and others account for 18% of the votes cast so far. So again, this to me is absolutely massive because early voting, and this is early and it's mail-in and early in-person votes count. This is both mail-in and early in. Now, couching that with there isn't always, not all states count the mail-in early. Some of them open it and unseal them on election day, which I think is a fucking terrible law. But some of them, I don't know which states have it, but some states have the law where they can collect early votes, but they cannot start opening and counting them until the day of. So this could be a massive swing. But with a number like this, 35.5 million people already, and with almost 58 million requested mail-in and stuff nationally, I gotta say, it's fucking crazy. It is that I don't know if they have enough mail-in numbers to make that percentage skew incredibly. unless again there's a massive pop coming in.
We'll know about Arizona by the next election.
Maybe.
Because Fox is now has PTSD about calling it, so they're
Oh my
definitely
God.
not going to call it.
They're gonna wait for all the other networks.
Yeah.
They are, because here's the thing of Fox was where Fox fucked up is they were first. And that gave all the other networks the okay to do it as well. Anyway, so this is absolutely nuts with what's going on right here. And it needs to continue. And if you look at some of these places, I'm going to pull up this. You could see the percentage based off the bars. Look at Arkansas down there, mostly red, Louisiana, Oklahoma. Nevada's pretty fucking even. Utah favors Republicans. What is that? Any Nebraska favoring Republican or almost even there, which Nebraska's huge. Nebraska is a big state. Arizona, basically a dead heat, according to this. Oregon, a lot closer than I thought. Washington, a lot closer than I thought.
I saw something come out, a post from the O'Keefe Media Group, James O'Keefe's group, about Maricopa County dropping soon.
Ooh,
so that's interesting.
That's going to change a lot.
That's very interesting.
But you also look at some of the battlegrounds. North Carolina, very close. South Carolina, very close. Pennsylvania, really big for blue right now. That's surprising considering all the work that Scott Pressler and Cliff Maloney have done there. But I feel like that size of red right there is a lot bigger than it would typically be. So they've done some good stuff there. West Virginia, Davis, surprisingly even.
They'll be fine.
Virginia, fairly even though. Like the thing is, normally when you would look at a map like this with early voting, especially this early, I feel like the motivation
is going to be more blue.
It would be typically majority blue.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we're looking at places that aren't red strongholds like North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, San Diego, Idaho, those are always going to be red early or not. They're going to go heavy. But the fact that you're seeing a lot of the battleground states be dead heats, even if Democrats do somewhat pull away late, I don't know if it'll be enough to help them at this point. If the way it's trending.
And I don't think that was just Arizona too. That was a typical trend I think we saw in a lot of states in 2020. And I think that is where Trump actually went wrong in his campaign, where he wasn't pounding about doing mail-in or going early in 2020. So that is one of the places where he went wrong. And you could see he course corrected for this one, where he basically 100%. Said, just go fucking vote.
He listened to Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler was pleading with him to please let me go out and get people to early vote. And he just kind of sat back and was like, let's do it.
Yep.
And there's also another thing that I think that people don't see. I think after the first assassination attempt, the Christian Jewish religious vote are starting to rally. I think because a lot of them have seen that that's kind of a divine thing, that what he did, what he survived, it's only an act of God that saved him. And I feel like a lot of people that are conservative and are Christians, and maybe, they typically don't vote. A lot of your conservative Christians, that's why the evangelical block is so massive, because if they come out and vote, it's a landslide every fucking time if we can just get them out. But I feel like after that, you're starting to see them get a lot more activated, and Trump has been significantly more religious since the 2 assassination attempts. And I think, we're seeing that also affect. And I don't think people are talking about that effect. And I would like to see the number of Christians that vote in this election as opposed to the last one. So, yeah. So
catch you, Debbie. Thank you for tuning in.
We appreciate Australia's watching. We freaking love that. Thank you so much, Debbie.
We're hoping to win it for everyone, including Australia. I know.
Yes, if we win it, hopefully we can help you guys out. So the Jays always vote blue. Yes, they do. But if we can get enough of that sector,
maybe not so much this year.
We can get enough of that sector, Nate. Here's the thing. It's kind of similar when you talk about, like, I hate always talking about demographics, but the black vote. They talk about if Republicans can get to anywhere near 20%, it's over. Like, the Democrats cannot course correct for that. And I feel like with the Jews, there has to be a similar thing where the Jews are going to go typically 80, 75, whatever it is, percentile. But if the Republicans can chip away and get a different, a percentage of it that's unheard of, if Trump can figure out a way to do that, then it's going to be almost an insurmountable thing. So we shall see. And apparently there's a ton of Amish activated for Trump. So
how do we know? How do we
interview
know?
them? Because they're being interviewed.
That's fair.
Because there were some Amish women interviewed, and they're like, yeah, no, we have our whole entire village coming to vote for him. And people don't realize the Amish fuck like locusts. So when they talk about their village, there are thousands going to vote in that sense. So Fuck like locust, fuck like rabbit.
Yeah, I don't know if that works. I don't know what you're saying there.
I wanted to say like they're like around like locusts, but then I said fuck and I mixed up locust. You know what we're gonna say?
Either way,
Fuck
you're kind of just
they
insulting
fuck
one
like
another, sure.
locusts. I assume that locusts fuck a lot. There's a lot of them.
I have a new clip. This is 5 minutes.
Let's do it.
Real quick.
What else are we doing?
Tweet is from JD Florida Sun. I don't know who this guy is. The deep state. Trump tells Joe Rogan how he could have put Hillary in prison, how stupid James Comey really is.
I
So
love it.
listen.
So real quick, before you do that, I'm not going to pull it up. I just want to give the update. An hour ago, this dropped. They're up to 845,907 views in an hour.
Yep.
Okay, for this thing. I just want to keep on giving that update. Go ahead, Dave.
With propagandists, because they take things out of context, and ultimately what they do is they diminish their own credibility because people don't want to listen to them anymore because they see that they've done that and they recognize what's going on and they feel insulted. Their intelligence.
Well,
is
look
getting
at
insulted.
the ratings.
Yes.
You know, shows like yours. So I have a son who's very smart and tall.
So real quick, there have been, I don't know if necessarily rumors is the right way to put it, but a lot of people are like, Barron's probably the one that's getting Trump to go on all these podcasts because he probably listens to a lot, like Nelk Boys, like Theo, like Flake, like all of these different podcasts that he's been on. So it really could be Barron that's been pushing this, and if it is, I mean, that's awesome. That's incredible. What a move.
I feel like it's a combination of his kids, but Barron is in the house with him still.
Yes.
You know, he's in college and everything, but Barron is probably in his ear more than anyone because he's still, you know, his responsibility as like closest. Everyone else is as adults. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Don Jr. has said it to him before and he's kind of just like, yeah, Don, go away. But now that Barron's saying it and like he knows like Barron is young and he's like, I feel like you're right. And I feel like that's a big thing. But I don't think Barron's the first one to say it. I think he just takes Barron a little more seriously because Barron's young and in that trend, that spot. So yeah, that's you know, Barron's the next. He's going to be the final king of the fucking United States. When he comes in,
he's growing. He'll just become king off of height alone. So we'll see.
Basically, go ahead,
Barron, right? And he knows all about you. He knows about guys I never heard of. He said, Dad, you don't know how big they are. They're big. You know, he told me how big. I said, who the hell is he? Like Ross. He said, Dad, he's a great guy. I mean, guys that are doing, it's a whole new world out there.
It's a different world. And
but, you know, I'm on TikTok now.
Yeah. Congratulations.
And I've done really well. No, but you know the crazy, have you seen the numbers? Billions of hits. It's crazy.
I'm sure. TikTok's a wild application.
And I've gone up 30 points. A Republican is always down 30 with young people. I'm plus 30. And I'm on TikTok.
I think
it's had a huge impact.
Young people are rejecting a lot of this work.
It's wild that TikTok hasn't kicked them off yet. Because TikTok kicks off everyone for any sort of quote unquote misinformation.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy that they haven't kicked them off yet because I think the leftists are going to look back at this and they look back, you know, after 2016, there was the whole shadow campaign thing about like the mistakes they made and what they're going to correct for 2020. I think they might look at this as one of the things that they did not influence TikTok enough to get Trump off of there because that is huge that he's able to be on there and reach so many young kids. I
feel like it's difficult to kick him off things again. You know, he came back. He basically got got back on his horse. They let him back up there. So it's difficult to kick him off again.
But TikTok doesn't give a fuck. They're China. I don't think TikTok cares.
That doesn't matter. TikTok was in a fight of whether or not they would be allowed in America. So I think TikTok actually does care.
Maybe.
Yeah, so
then that would rally the house. And
TikTok was in a bad way. Well, not
out of there. Yeah.
TikTok was in a bad way a bit ago. So.
Yeah, you're right. You're correct on that. And also update. Yankees and Dodgers are going into extra innings too.
Oh, wow.
They're going into extras. First game of the World Series, and Rutgers sucks. USC is already up 7-0 on them. I hate Rutgers. Anyway, if I might jump in with whoever wins the game 1 of the World Series. Go ahead, Dave.
Young people are tired of being yelled at and scolded. They're tired of these people that they think are mentally ill telling them what the moral standards of society should be today. And people are upset.
There's a big difference now, but even in just a couple of years, I was shaking hands with people. They're young people.
The rebels are Republicans now. They're like, you want to be a rebel? You want to be punk rock?
Yeah, exactly. Counterculture is having the nuclear family, being Republican. That's counterculture now.
All the time. And by the way, congrats to Tim Pool. Expecting a child. I thought that was pretty cool. That's obviously where his stress is coming from. But
Expecting new employees.
yes, yeah. But Tim Pool said that all the time, that punk is dead in a lot of ways. Like what punk used to be is dead, and that now punk rock is on the right. Same exact thing Joe's saying, and he's been saying this for years.
Well, most of the punk artists that were all against the system when Bush was in power, and
Even
any
before
other,
that in the 60s and things like that.
yeah, the punks, they were all against the system. Went right along with the system when it started lining closer to what they thought
Well, one
was
of
the
our
right
favorite
thing.
bands, Incubus, they made Megalomaniac about Donald Trump, and you have Disturbed making Deify about not Donald Trump, about
Yeah,
George
not
W.
Bush.
Bush,
Yeah.
and Disturbed making Deify about him. And then when you have Obama coming in, and Obama's as fucking domineering as any president we've ever had, they were all just like, or Obama, or like just
Well, I
getting in
mean,
line.
one of the worst culprits is Rage Against the Machine.
Oh my God,
My goodness.
become
My
the machine.
goodness.
They just need to come out and like rename themselves like we are the machine.
They are. They are. They
They are.
rage for it now.
And
So
you would,
it's
you know,
bad.
Adam De La Rocca, like De La Rocca has so much more material to come out. I'm surprised they didn't come out with an album against Donald Trump, to be quite honest. Because there were
'Cause
rumors
I
about,
don't even think anyone cares about them anymore.
and it's sad too because like I still will listen to their music because Rage is
Yeah.
fantastic,
Mhm.
but it's like it's you have to be able to separate the idiot from what they could their talent. That's
Yeah.
kind of where it goes. All right,
Yeah.
go for it.
You want to like
Yeah.
buck the system, you're a conservative now. That's how crazy. And then the liberals are now pro silencing criticism. They're pro censorship online. They're talking
They
about
come after
regulating free speech and they're regulating the First Amendment. It's bananas to watch.
Joe, they come after their political opponent.
Well, they
I
do.
got more guys. I always say, I kid, but I'm not kidding. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the meanest of them all. He'd kill you in 2 seconds if he didn't like you, right? I've been under investigation more than Alphonse Capone, only because it's political opponent stuff. And I've won. I won the big case in Florida. I'm winning the other stuff. You win, but you know
And
what they did?
quickly,
They
Dave,
did something.
I think this might be the biggest thing in his favor and the easiest way if you want to talk to some dumb motherfucking leftist that talks about how like he's been convicted and things like that and blah blah blah. He has been investigated more than anybody else, and they have not found anything serious against him at all.
Well, that doesn't matter though, right? Because
He's a felon.
Well, yeah, because they have their talking points, and that's all they want. That's all they need. It's the same thing that you see from any of these arguments. They want to use your belief system against you when they wouldn't do anything according to your belief system.
Always.
So yeah, so that's why
They try
these
to challenge your foundation and your
Exactly.
morals and your system.
Exactly. So and it's nothing that they believe in most of the time in any kind of way. So it wouldn't matter to them if they did anything that you thought was immoral. So they just try to throw it in your face to make you back down and make you back down from any type of conversation. So that's why you're arguing with anyone that's that ridiculous. It's just moot point to really try to give them any kind of debate.
Nah, keep going here.
Thing that's only done in third world countries. They came after their political opponent.
Yes.
I could have put crooked Hillary in jail.
Well, not only that, but they're weaponizing it by saying that that's what you're going to do once you get in office.
Isn't it
by
great?
ignoring what they're doing right now. It's crazy.
I heard it. Somebody was defending me today. They said, no, they say that's what you're doing to him. They're going, he's going to put us in jail. He's going to investigate.
That's
said,
what you're
that's
doing.
what you're doing to him.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, will you do that? Will you do that to him to them if you win? It's the presidency has tremendous power. I could have put crooked Hillary.
I
in
respected
jail.
that you didn't because
didn't.
what you said was it would be bad for the country.
No, I can't. I couldn't even imagine. You have, first of all, Secretary of State, but more importantly, the wife of the President of the United States of America going into jail. And if you ever saw when I'd say something about her, they'd all say, I didn't say it. I never said it. They say, lock her up, lock her up. And I'd always go, take it easy, just relax. We're going to win this thing. Take it easy, take it easy. And I'm telling you, I kept it down, just the opposite. Now they say, oh, Trump wanted to put her in jail. No, I saved her from going to jail. They had more stuff on her.
Wow.
And Comey had it, because when Comey got up, and he stupidly, because he's a stupid guy too, he's a stupid son of a bitch. He got up, Joe, and instead of saying she's innocent of all charges, he went over each charge. And each charge was a killer. And he'd go, and as far as her doing this, she's innocent. And this, and then she's only an unfair prosecutor for it would go. But every time you heard these charges, they sound.
People also tend to forget that he had a prior relationship with the Clintons as a friend before even all of this.
And a donor, I'm pretty sure. And a donor, I'm pretty sure.
He was a donor. He was their friend. He was at their daughter's wedding. It's not like they were unfamiliar. So it was absolutely a fallacy that he was ever going to put her in jail. Similar, probably because even if he wanted to, I can imagine one phone call from Bill. Hey, Donald, can you not put Hillary in jail? Donald, like, okay, Bill, for you. I won't do it for you. I feel like that's like how it like would go. Like, so I'm like, even if he wanted to, he wouldn't, because again, we've seen this. We heard it from Pastor Scott. Donald understands friends are friends, business or business. And I wouldn't be surprised if we find out after Trump is done being president, in 6 more years, he's hanging out with the Clintons somewhere in a Trump tower or something. You know what I mean? Like, it would not surprise me one bit, because that's the type of guy he is, where he's like, whatever, I'll spend time with you as a friend. Let's go play golf. Might not like you politically, but that's business. I separate those two. So go ahead.
They're so bad. They were bad. And all it was is he wanted more airtime. If he would have gone up and said, I've thoroughly investigated Hillary Clinton and she's done nothing that we feel is wrong, it would have ended.
Quick
Instead,
update.
he wanted to be up there.
Yankees score 3-2 in the 10th. Hopefully they win. Let's keep going.
Okay. I didn't know if there's more or not. You paused.
No.
He's a PR hound. He's a hog. And he starts going through and you know what he had? They had a huge problem because FBI is great. The people there, not the top people, the people, the real people, the people that work there. It's like the real generals that I told you about that defeated ISIS in record time. The FBI guys are great. I'll bet you I'd be at 95% in the FBI.
I bet that's right.
Underneath.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. So he goes with Hillary, and instead of just saying, he goes through each charge.
Right.
And even I was saying, man, those are bad charges.
Sounds terrible.
And this is before I got
with those charges.
Don't forget this.
And this is the conference that a lot of people think really tanked Hillary.
That's what the leftists blame it on.
Yeah, they blame it on this conference particularly because, people already looked at her as someone corrupt before that. But then this comes out and this whole conference, like he's saying, Comey's going line by line. And it's just like, do you believe what he's saying? It seems like Hillary is the type of person that would do this.
With that conference, I remember it specifically. He called her guilty and in the end said she's not guilty. Like everything he said, everything he did said she was guilty. And if it was any other regular American citizen, not the American royalty political class, but any other American citizen, they'd be in jail for 25 plus years with the things that she did and the things that she was being charged for or investigated for. So it was something that changed because
and we also
calling her guilty, he told the American people that she did wrong things.
Well, and we also have to remember that with all the things that she was charged with, if a normal person would charge with those things, they wouldn't be allowed out while they're being investigated.
Nope.
They wouldn't be allowed to do much while they're being investigated.
Yep, they'd be remanded.
There might be allowed out in some cases.
Well, if they got bail, they were going to make bail, but bail will be a few $1 million. So they
exactly
somebody of note.
So it wouldn't be something that's just you get to walk around and do your normal life if you're investigated for those types of crimes.
Yeah.
Before I got there.
Right.
Now he was trying to protect her, but he did her a great disservice.
Because he wanted attention.
He was stupid.
So I want to.
He was stupid. I love whoever's cutting these clips. The little last quips that they allowed Donald Trump to get is amazing. He's stupid.
I do also want to bring this up because I brought it up earlier. Reddit witches are trying to cast spells on Trump, but they're upset because he has some kind of protection around him. I'm just going to read this post out.
Yeah, read it, please.
Some other witches have mentioned that doing spells directly against Trump are not as effective as we might hope.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Did they actually have to spell Trump incorrectly because it's a banned word on that?
Maybe it might be. It
probably is a bannable thing to put Trump properly on that. That's how
would not be surprised.
Reddit is
Reddit.
Yep. Those boards.
But he seems to have some kind of protection around him. A freezer spell against Project 2025 would likely be useful,
Oh
but I wouldn't give the Cheeto any more attention right now. He hates to be ignored, right? LOL.
I mean,
And then the rest of it's whatever.
he needs to use that. The Cheeto. That's actually a great fucking nickname.
Hold up.
To call him the Cheeto.
Shinzo Abe is the protection around him. Holy shit.
This is amazing. That is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
I believe it. That's my headcanon at this point.
Oh my god. But okay. So Dave, let's go in. Let's talk about actually a big ruling that came down today that could actually have a massive effect on the election. And it's crazy that this happened now. Now, what I'm curious is we're going to talk about the ruling. I'm curious if the Supreme Court's going to get involved. But
There's a possibility of that.
and which would fucking annoy me if they get involved over this when they have sat out everything else general election related over the last 8 years.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We're going to test the merit, but talk about what came down today.
So this is from Be Hizzy Tweets. Everything that he seems to be saying seems to be accurate.
Yeah, Beezy's
for
cool.
what this is. So it says breaking: the Fifth Circuit Court just ruled that ballots must be received by Election Day, and any state laws that allow them to be received and counted after Election Day violate federal law. This changes everything. I kid you not. And in quotes, Congress statutorily designated a singular day for the election of members of Congress and the appointment of presidential electors. Text, precedent, and historical practice confirm this day for the election is the day by which ballots must be both cast by voters and received by state officials. Because Mississippi's statute allows ballot receipt up to 5 days after the federal election day, which is insane, it is preempted by federal law. We reversed the district court's contrary judgment and remand for further proceedings. And then he says, because this is a decision by one of the highest courts in the nation,
Yes,
it impacts elections everywhere.
Because it sets precedent with a federal appellate court.
Yes.
That's crazy. And the thing is, that's crazy too, is a lot of the way that they get around this is, well, they're the ones that were opening the mail-ins, they were dated on election day. So they were sent out and dated for election. That's how they get around it. This is a huge ruling because it says dated or not, if it's not in their fucking hands on election day, it doesn't count. And again, this is now precedent for every other battleground state. And this is good. If this goes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court just doesn't throw it the fuck away and say, we're not getting involved. That appellate court's
I would like them to confirm that.
I don't think they need to confirm it because
they don't because
they're better off not getting involved. Yeah. And by the time this goes through an appeals process to another court, because if the Supreme Court bounces it back, they can try to go to another circuit or get another federal appellate court. That process is still there, but by the time that happens, it's going to be post-election. So this changes everything because now every single Republican AG now has this in their back pocket. And so many, the Dillon group and groups like that have all these fucking hawk lawyers, your Barnes. Even though Barnes had a rough go of it with Ricada, Robert Barnes is still
he's a little rough around the edges right now.
But you know what though? He's still very good when it comes to this federal law and type of stuff like that. So, and he's argued in front of the Supreme Court before. So it's not something that is out of their wheelhouse. So it's going to be interesting to see how this is now handled because now Republicans and people on the right have it in their arsenal that if there are ballots that they want to count after election day in any state, they can point to precedent in Mississippi saying this is illegal. Federal law, it's illegal. States can figure out how they want to run their elections, but they are not allowed to say when the election happens. Mm-hmm. That is a federal thing of when the day is. And that's fucking awesome that they codified it because now we're going to see this is going to change a shit ton about the election.
Well, I mean, it's what should be already a thing because it's a federal election.
Agreed.
So it should be a federal law of when it happens. The states can't be fucking willy-nilly about this shit.
No. It
is particularly a federal election. So I have another clip up. Joe Rogan shows old footage of Donald Trump on The View and how nice they were. And then he goes on in quotes and says, and the machine started working towards you. It's another 5-minute clip, and I'm fine with this. This seems like an awesome podcast. I
can't wait to listen to it on 2 times speed.
Also, yes, big L on Nicky Rackets. Rackets has fucked himself recently too, because I've been catching up with that, and that shit's hilarious,
dude. Honestly, what he needs to do right now in order to make money, he needs to wrap it up and just officially become a lolcow.
He already has.
But he needs to jump on. He needs to go fucking head deep. He needs to try and get on the show, become a official one. He needs to realize what he is. And before he goes to jail for a long time, he needs to try and rack up as much money as he can for those.
He's not going to win lolcow a year. I think RTU's taking that, but we don't have to keep going with that.
RTU's definitely taking it. RTU is 100%.
It's been a pretty glorious.
Which is crazy that he was able to take that mantle from Nick Rekieta, considering how bad of a go Rekieta's had. Anyway, we can get into the RTU Rekieta stuff more another time. But go ahead.
It was the episode of you when you were on The View. And I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president.
Right.
And you got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you. They were all talking about how you're...
Real quick. And this is something that everyone says all the time when really like defending Trump is everyone loved him. He was brought up in all rap songs, in every single venue by every single person possible that had kind of status anywhere. People like
Bill
Trump.
Gates, Donald Trump, let me in now. Say, yep. And and I also want to say, I don't know if this is back in the time when Elizabeth Hasselbeck was on The View, because she was actually really good on there. She was one of the ones that
we'll find out.
She was a legitimate conservative, and it helped that she was a hot blonde. So
he's in the mud with Imholte. Yeah, no, it's out for him.
He's in Imholte's blood. In her mud, in her poop.
They probably did a couple. Anyway,
you might be conservative in your financial positions, but you're very liberal socially. They were talking about you in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering. And then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you.
Yeah.
But there's probably no one in history that I've ever seen that's been attacked the way you've been attacked, and the way they've done it, so coordinated and
I do also want to say real quick, pretty much non sequitur, but I like how this is Rogan dressing up for an interview with President Trump. I'm not even critiquing him. I love that. I love that because Rogan stay Rogan because it's a good because it doesn't seem like he changed his style to interview.
But
Trump,
you know what though, this isn't like it's the first time he's met Trump. He's met him a few times at the events at UFC stuff before. So I think it's different because he's had a few like not deep but informal conversations. How's it going, President Trump? Blah, blah, blah. So it's not like they were so impersonal that he had to do that. Like he kind of knew him, and he was.
Well, I don't really think he would dress up for basically anyone, and I like that. That's fine.
I think he saw him when he was working at UFC, and he let his hair down there. So it's like there was no point to dressing up at this point for someone you've met a few times already in your element.
Yeah.
Systematically, when you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah's show, she was encouraging you
last week.
But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
My friend. Watch this. Just watch this. This is nuts. We're in an alternative universe. Okay, because this is not that long ago.
Go standing O.
Bro, watch this. Just watch how this goes. Watch this. So she's a Republican. That's easy.
Yep.
But everybody else.
Joy can't wait to get a hug in.
Yeah, everyone's hugging. Look at this. Look at this. Kisses, hugs, kisses to Whoopi. Everybody hugs and kisses. Even Joy Behar hugs and kisses.
Even Joy Behar hugs and kisses.
See? Now watch this.
So I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, but not to her. Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate.
I love that whoever did this included this.
Well, no,
this is from
I think Trump. No, I think they're actually watching it right now.
Oh,
I think it's as part of Rogan's show.
Gotcha.
You know, we saw Newt Gingrich apologizing for his marriages and divorces. You've had 3 marriages, 2 sort of uncomfortable divorces. Do you think that the...
Not really. They were very comfortable.
Well, we won't review all that. Do you think...
Getting laughs right away.
That would bother anybody?
I think
No.
the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country is never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation, every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
Whether
crazy.
it's OPEC.
That's crazy.
OPEC, which is
Look at this. Watch
having
this.
a field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
Why
so
aren't
then they
so
change
I
their
agree with
minds
that, but you
also.
didn't
So,
answer my
no, I
question.
did answer your
Enjoys
question. I
agreement.
really
You think
think
it wouldn't
people,
matter?
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now.
If you,
When
The audience cheers.
Yeah.
When we have France,
forgot about this.
France leading the
what it
charge,
actually
okay,
looks like.
France,
Yeah.
this is our new leader. By the way, they led for about 2 hours. After that, nobody's seen them. I don't know.
They're geographically, so they
Let me
should.
just
shouldn't
ask a
they?
follow-up question to
Their
that.
lead is the point.
Let me just ask
instead of the
a
other way.
follow-up question to that. Let's say you run. You've given a lot of thought for this. Who would you like as your vice president? Possibly Sarah Palin?
Well, I think it's far too early even to discuss that. I'm going to make a decision sometime prior to June. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country like it's not being protected. You know, it's funny. So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why don't we, why aren't they paying us? If you look at North Korea, South Korea, we're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why are they paying
You'd be
us?
treating this like a business.
No, a business with heart.
Okay.
Believe me, there's a lot of heart. It's a business, but it's also a business with heart. We will destroy
This is
this country. It won't be a
wild to
war.
see.
If the economics of this country keep going the way they're going, we're not going to have a country.
You're kind of a social liberal, Donald. You know, you're a social liberal. Could you actually get the base to vote for you in the primary?
Well, every
You're a
poll
social liberal.
is saying that
Yeah.
I'm the one that does the best.
They
You know,
do.
they're doing polls.
They
And
actually have you a higher approval rating than Mitt Romney, Tim Pawlenty, John Boehner.
John, my God, those names.
John Boehner's a piece of shit. So.
Well, I mean, she called Mitt Romney the wrong name. It's Pierre Delecto, but
So let's just pause and think. Just
He's very poised. He's
but
listening.
Just
He's
grasp
like,
the 180
yeah.
that the media's taken on him
Yeah.
since he decided to be president.
Yeah.
When you see the machine go
Oh, the clip's almost done. Okay.
after a guy, we've never seen the machine go after someone as bold-faced.
Freddie Freeman
You know,
just
the
ended the game with a
prosecutions,
walk-off grand
Russiagate stuff on
Yeah.
television every night, all of it. It's
Yeah.
and then to see just a few years ago, they loved him.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
That's
pretty
fucking
wild.
terrible. Off a nasty nester. A
Yeah, what are you gonna
walk-off grand slam for Freddie Freeman.
What are you gonna do? First game.
Jesus. All right. Anyway, yeah, that honestly, he should just play that. That should be a campaign ad. It should be a campaign ad of him sitting down and yucking it up with the View,
Hold up.
and just having Joy Behar praise him, and everyone talk so nicely to him.
There's a lot of interest in it.
One of the things that
There's
I'm
a
very,
lot of interest in the people coming from space, you know.
Yeah, ask him
And
about
I know
it.
you're interested
oh,
in
I'm
that,
very
too.
interested in that. How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Oh,
What'd they tell you?
You wanted.
How much can you tell?
So
How's that work? Is it like
I
super
think
top
I
secret?
Can tell, you know.
Tell
I think,
me.
Well, based on Hunter Biden, I can say whatever the hell
Yes.
I want. Right? But no, I interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing. I have to be honest. I have never been a believer. I have people that Area 51 or whatever it is. I think it's the #1 tourist attraction in the whole country or something. Area 51 in Las Vegas. Do you know that, right?
Sure, I know what it is.
So anyway, but it's a big tourist thing. So I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something.
What?
If you saw them, you'd love to have them as your
I've had a
son.
couple in here. Commander David Fravor.
Yeah.
I had him in, who had that sighting in 2004. Very,
Yeah.
very compelling with visual
Very
video
compelling.
evidence, radar evidence.
Jesus.
I interviewed,
Brian Graves.
I don't believe his name, but I interviewed jet pilots that
To
were
pause right here.
solid people. The perfect.
This is where Trump, I think, has also matured, and as a businessman knows things, but like he knows their names. I don't remember. He knows their names, but he knows that it's smart to not give the names.
Yeah.
So he can tell this story without confirming who it is. So he's protecting whoever told him and any of the information while still giving the actual story of what he knows. All right, go ahead with it.
Yeah, and man, this is actually pretty crazy because for him to be interviewing the jet pilots is interesting.
To talk, yeah.
For him to be the one that's talking to the pilots is interesting.
I firmly believe, and I've said this before, not on the show, but I've said this to you. Space Force, there's only two reasons for it. One, if they want to do some satellite warfare on the ground, and they're trying to figure out some way to like do like the actual like space, the Star Wars that Reagan wanted to do with like fucking laser beams to attack countries, or two,
laser beams.
The fucking laser beams on freaking laser beams on sharks' heads. Number two, they know something is coming. They know something is coming. They have an estimated time of when, and they know that unless we have a force that is used to being in zero G, that is used to figuring out a way to fight in space somehow, we have no chance.
I do think there's a number 3, and that it's pretty cool to have something called Space Force.
Yes, but
yeah, exactly. You can't even argue against it because it is cool.
But I don't think Donald Trump's going to waste his time or the money to go.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's still pretty cool. All right,
it is cool, but all right, go ahead.
Perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, you know. And it was round, which is, in theory, a great shape.
So when you were talking to these people, was this something that you were compelled to have conversations about? Was this your personal interest?
No, a little bit. It's not a great interest for me, but it's a little interest. I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life, because
Mars, we've had probes there and rovers, and I don't think there's any life there.
Well, maybe it's life that we don't know, but maybe
there was life there at one point in time. This is the speculation about Mars, that Mars had an atmosphere at one point in time, a long time ago, that could support life. It also had large bodies of water, but we've had no evidence of even bacterial life that exists on Mars. But the universe is pretty vast. It's not been a big thing
for me. I mean, when I looked at what China did to this, they would have never done it with me, where they put the balloon up, and a lot of people thought, for a little while that was one of these things. So,
that's a lot of the speculation too, that some of these drones that hover over battleships, that these are Chinese drones, and that they're not UFOs.
They could be also.
There's some super sophisticated.
But I did interview, let's say, 3 or 4 guys and without tremendous interest, if you had them. As I said, you'd love to have them as your children. Solid, beautiful people. They said, sir, there's something there.
Real quick.
There's something there.
Yeah.
Somewhere Rubio's watching this going, no, we want to know more, motherfucker. Get interested. Because I will say Marco Rubio's legacy is going to be everything that he has been forcing them to uncover. Because Rubio, to me, he's fallen off a good amount from the guy that they wanted him to be as a presidential candidate. He's proven that he's not as conservative as we all thought he was. But if he keeps on pushing, because he is pushing, and every time he gets something that's incredibly redacted, he calls it out. He's like, this isn't what I asked for. These are people that, what the fuck do we need to know? He's been really good on that. And so somewhere Rubio's watching this going, I need to figure out how to fucking get this guy interested.
Yeah,
I've talked to quite a few of
them.
They're
not conspiracy guys.
Well, I mean, the Commander David Fravor thing in 2004 off the coast of San Diego, they clocked that thing going from 50,000 feet above sea level to 50 in a second.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is.
That's tough to beat.
Yeah, they saw something in the water. It was hovering over that something that was making a disturbance in the water. They got video evidence of this thing. 2 different fighter jets with pilots in them saw it. There's, visual evidence, photographic evidence, video evidence, radar evidence, whatever the hell it is. It moves in a way that would turn a human being into jello if they're inside of it.
Biggest
The
part for me,
G-force.
Dave, real quick, is they talk about sometimes they think it could be like a light trick because they play like some things like that, like to like make things there. The fact that there was a disturbance with the water, that kind of, if you just see it above the water, okay, that could be some sort of projection playing on the eyes type of thing with like a light type of shit. The fact that there was a disturbance, meaning that there was something with trajectory that was keeping it up, something that was making it stay up like a propulsion, that to me is tough to argue.
I find it really interesting. We still have a minute left of this video, so maybe I'll come out wrong in what I'm about to say. But I find it interesting that Trump isn't denying anything outright.
Not a thing.
So
Trump has not denied a single thing about it. He's been saying that he's got told a lot of things.
Could be reading into it too much. It could be 110%, but he's not denying anything outright. So I find that very interesting because
I feel like he's trying to protect the people that are telling him things as well, because if he gets back into office, he's going to want them to tell him more about what they know. So if he just came out and was like, yeah, they told me they're real and we're fucked. Like the people are going to be like, what the fuck? We're not going to talk to this guy again. I don't care if he does become president. Even if he demands we go there, we're going to give him as little as possible. But if he does it this way, where he's just like, well, I talked to them, but I don't really know. And that's where they'll sit there and be like, okay, he gave him something without giving him everything. We could still trust that.
Yes,
we can give
but
him
you don't necessarily need to trust the people that you already got the stories from. You don't need them to trust you anymore. So what I'm saying is, if they
you need that apparatus to trust you, that's allowing them to come.
The apparatus is going to be whatever. It's just still going to give him debriefs and everything about that stuff because they want to show whether or not it's true or not. I'm saying if he was told factual information, if he had been told another different possibility of the things that could happen that seemed rock solid, I don't see why you wouldn't come out and deny it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
No one would survive.
Oh,
so like, what is that? And we don't. It doesn't have a heat signature. They don't know what their propulsion system was. But
when you fly in some of these jets, these pilots have to be in great shape.
Oh yeah, I flew with the Blue Angels once.
Yeah,
I got to fly. I guess
and
it's
those
an
are older,
FA-18.
and those are older machines,
and they're crazy.
When you fly on some of these things,
oh my God,
it's amazing. Yeah, but
I can imagine.
You got to be special.
But these things that these people are encountering are far superior to what we know of.
Yeah.
Is it possible that there's some military or government program that you weren't, that they didn't tell you about?
I think I had a great relationship with the military, basically, but I didn't like certain people. I would have gotten them out if I thought if the election was different, I would have fired all of them quickly. Most of them. Biden should have fired every military person involved with Afghanistan.
Yes. Yeah, that's an interesting clip. That's an interesting clip.
That is a very interesting clip, considering, I feel like what he could have said versus what he did say.
Yes.
And I think he gave a lot of nuggets there. And it's there's a lot to take in there. You could read into so much of it, or you could take it at face value. But wow. Dave, I think we'll get close to wrapping this bad boy up. We watched a ton of clips. I think that, we got a bunch of stuff. I encourage everyone to go out and watch the Joe Rogan
the full
podcast.
thing, full 3 hours.
Right now,
we only got 15 minutes really of it.
Right now, it dropped 2 hours ago. They're almost at 1 million views already, 959,000 in 2 hours. This thing is going to break all sorts of records. And it might be the most important thing that Trump has done on this campaign, to be quite honest. Which is crazy that the amount of power that Joe Rogan has, to kind of, be a kingmaker in this way. But from what we've seen, it's quintessential Trump, and that can only work well for him.
Yeah.
Because if Joe Rogan has a lot of people in the middle and on the left that watch him as well. So if they can look at him as anything, but not this monster, if he made him not to be this monster and can maybe chisel through some of that look And now they can start to listen to what he's saying and maybe some of the policies and be like, makes sense.
Mhm.
I hate this guy, but he's not that big. He's not as bad as it looks and not as bad as they're saying. And then now he might get rid of income tax. I rely on tips and he doesn't want to tax them. Maybe. And all you need before you encourage someone to go to that poll is maybe. If they're a little unsure about how they're going to go. So it's been interesting. Dave, let's close out with your spookiness.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, we'll end this.
We gotta go spooky. We've been doing spookies till Halloween. That's what
we'll go through these pretty quickly. Horror movies are rolling to box office. These 10 lesser known titles deserve your attention. First is In a Violent Nature. I have not seen this one, but I know it. You are following a killer. You are following it from his perspective, which I've heard is pretty fun.
That's pretty terrifying.
Lots of gore. Mads, I have not heard of. Lots of like zombie movies. Interesting.
I do like 28 Days Later. So
entire movie unfolds in one single continuous take. So it's an artsy type of horror movie, and that can be really fun.
That's pretty wild too.
Streaming on Shudder, so you have to find it either on Shudder or somewhere else. It's What's Inside. I've actually seen the trailer for this. It looks like it's pretty good, to be completely honest. A bunch of friends get together. One friend brings this game that you just put like up to your temples, and it forces you to like see things and do things, and like you're hyper realistic and what
you're in ayahuasca.
Your feelings are. Maybe, yeah. I could actually see. I could see that. Red Rooms. I haven't heard of this one, but it's about Red Rooms.
If you like the girl with the dragon tattoo series, which the first, I heard the books were actually really good. The first movie was okay. It was weird.
Yeah, but do you know what a red room is?
No.
So a red room is something that's supposed to be on the dark web, deep web, however you want to put it. I can't remember what the exact correct term is right now. Sorry. But a red room is where you're watching basically sick shit happen. That's why it's a red room. It's usually red and things happen on the stream.
Okay.
But that's generally what a red room is referred to as, is you're watching things that that you're probably not going to see anywhere else. Usually it's supposed to be live.
Gotcha.
Out Come the Wolves. Watching like Adam McDonald's Backcountry survival horror movies. That's interesting. If you haven't seen Backcountry, stop reading this list and watch that first. That's one to put up there, I guess. Out comes another woods-based thriller. Could be pretty fucking good, especially a bunch of
people love Blair Witch, and Blair Witch is that woods-based thriller.
Yeah. Caddo Lake, Twisty Head Trips. I was actually going to watch this very soon. I had that pulled up on my streaming thing, on my streaming app. And it's about
what a twist.
Yeah, I believe it's about uncovering a bunch of things that happened in this lake.
And it's on Max, which is pretty accessible to most people right now.
Yes. Daddy's Head.
I haven't heard any of these.
Metaphor horror. Movies like The Babadook. Movies about grief.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I don't know if I'm going to watch that one, but it could be good. What You Wish For, if you like The Menu, The Bear, but only if you can help spend.
I heard great things about The Menu.
The Menu's fucking great.
I heard great things about
The Menu's really good. It was not what I expected. I highly recommend The Menu.
Yes.
I do think people should go and watch that film. And if this is like The Menu, then I'm probably going to have to check it out. Infested.
Ew.
I feel like we know what that's going to be about.
Looks fucking gross.
So if you don't like bugs, don't watch it. But if you do like bugs, watch it.
I don't mind bugs, but when they're that fucking giant. I mean, the last big bug one I watched was fucking Evolution. Eight-Legged Freaks. Eight-Legged Freaks was great.
Fine. If you're afraid of spiders, this movie will ruin your life.
I got to show it to my wife.
And Oddity is the last one. It is a movie I have seen. Oddity is good. I don't love Oddity. Maybe I'll have to watch it again, but there are some very good things in Oddity.
I just like the oddities from WWF.
I highly recommend. I do recommend watching it if you're interested in something that's more slow paced, but like a ghost story and a real mystery kind of thing that's wrapped up in it. So it's pretty good. It's not bad.
So I like it. I like that. Last few times we've been talking about
Red Rooms are impossible. The dark web. I mean, you're probably right. I'm just going based off like the superstition of Red Rooms. Well, maybe not superstition, but you know what I mean. But I wouldn't be. Yeah, you're probably more correct than I am, Nate.
But it's
I haven't been into dark web stuff like that in a long time. So it has been a while since I've looked at any of
You
that
haven't
stuff.
just fucking hung out on 4chan and Reddit in the pit
Well,
of hell.
4chan's not. It's not
No,
bad.
it's not that bad, but
Yeah, but either
but
way.
yeah, overall. But yeah, so that was Eight-Legged Freaks was dope. Yes, Eight-Legged Freaks was awesome. I did like Eight-Legged Freaks. But all right, so that's gonna close us out today.
Yeah.
Everyone go watch the Joe Rogan Experience. Go watch that episode with Trump. It looks fucking
Yeah,
awesome.
go listen to that. I'm gonna probably listen to it right after this, and go watch a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm gonna go to bed. And because I gotta be up early. My daughters have soccer early, so I need to go do that.
That's fine.
And but yeah, no, I'm definitely listening to Joe Rogan at some point soon because that interview sounds awesome. And I think whether you like or hate Trump, you should listen to it because you'll find out a lot about him regardless. It'll give you some insight, and you might hate him or you might like him more. But yeah, so thank you for everyone for watching. This was very Joe Rogan Trump clip heavy, but it was the biggest thing
It was gonna
that went on, and it dropped right before we got on here, which was awesome. We appreciate everyone that watched over on X, YouTube, Facebook. Do the appropriate thing. Go smash the like button, subscribe on Facebook. I mean on YouTube, on Facebook, share and follow. X, repost, follow, all that good jazz. If you're listening on podcast form, number one, I'm sorry you didn't get all the videos, but you got all the audio. If you're listening on podcast form, we appreciate that. Go give us a 5-star review, leave a comment if you can. And outside of that, we appreciate everyone for watching. We will try to be back tomorrow, as we always are. And, probably a few more clips that we didn't see tonight from the Donald
funnier
Trump
ones, most
podcast.
likely.
Maybe some funnier ones. And, maybe talk about, maybe it'll be the juxtaposition. We'll see some more Donald, and then we'll just do how fucking terrible Kamala's been in her last few appearances. All right.